Right. So the story of how I got evicted. Um, the age, we're gonna say 24, 24, 25. Um, a weird age to get evicted. A weird age. And the reason I want to make this video is because it's just advice really for like young people, particularly young people that go away. Let's say you might go to prison as an adult, 18, you come back maybe like 20, 21. You might go to jail. I'm not to jail, to uni, same age. Or you might just move away. You might have to move away and then come back. And it's particularly for the people that are in council housing as well, because it was a council house that I was evicted from. And it was the only house I actually grew up in. I was lucky to only live in one house, I suppose, as well. I think it's rough to move around a lot. So yeah, I'm going to touch on that in a story, and I give the advice of that to people that are in council housing. Yeah, and then leave some room for some stuff to talk about. So from the age of 16 to sort of 19, I would stay away a little bit, and my mum kind of wouldn't notice because she had work and other things to do. And then a few people passed away that I was aware of. Probably the most well-known one is a guy called Kojo Yenga. And he was a guy, you can go and Google him. He was a guy from West London that got stabbed in like a group thing with a bunch of boys, most of which were younger than him, in Hammersmith, I think it was. And yeah, reading that story and sort of like hearing the story, but then reading it in the paper, like it kind of made me fix up, if I'm honest. And so I stopped messing around and staying away and doing whatever I was doing. And I decided I wasn't going to go to uni, but I was going to go and do a serious college course on music. I always had okay grades, but never great. And so, yeah, I did a college course. And then I ended up applying for university after that. And I think my mum, going back to leading up to the eviction, the starting thing was my mum took me off the list. Like there's some sort of list. I've never like applied for a council house or flat myself, but I know that when you're in one, there's a list of who is in that household, and it's not to do with voting. It's like the council will have to be aware of who's in that household, whether they're kids or adults. And my mum took me off to say that I was at university, I wasn't in the house, and this was a key thing which I would recommend you don't do, and make sure your parents don't do if you go away to university or you move away for whatever reason. Because when I came back, I don't think I was ever put back on it. And this is not me shooting up my mum or anything, or blowing up my mum for that, because she was busy, preoccupied with loads of other things. And I was never permanent when I came back after university at the age of like 22. So yes, I was living originally with my mum and my brother when I moved back from university at 22. And I came back to work music industry jobs. And I had a job for a company, a good company. I won't say the name of the company because it's not really to do with this thing, but it was a good company, and they were kind of involved in the music industry, and they were involved in online stock trading as well. But like it was like a music game as well. A music industry stock trading game, kind of innovative. And yes, I was doing that and other jobs and that. And then my mum would visit my stepdad, who lives far away in the north of England, and she'd be away for a few days, sometimes a week. And one time she got a phone call from my stepbrother that my stepdad had had a heart attack. And I distinctly remember her packing the car as much as she could and driving off. And she never came back. And so I was an adult, don't get me wrong, as an adult, I was like 24, but it was a 2-bedroom house that we converted into a 3-bedroom. We put a NDF wall in the middle of it, and like I couldn't afford to pay for the whole house at the time myself. And so we had a conversation when my stepdad came out of hospital. We had a conversation with my mum, like, I didn't even ask her when she was coming back. I knew she wasn't. And it was just sort of like, what are we gonna do with the house? And she was like,
see if you can get a lodger in. Yeah, my brother already had to leave for his own reasons before that, my younger brother. So it couldn't really be him. And I had some other people that were interested, but they were people that are involved in like criminal activity, basically, in it. So I knew I couldn't move them into my mum's house. She wouldn't have that. She wouldn't want their money. So it was just like, you need to get a lodger in. And we did. We got one in, and he was here for like, he was in the house for like 6 to 12 months. And then I had a neighbor who was a chatty patty, and my parents split up when I was 8, and my dad moved out of this house, the same house that I'm talking about. And he said, I remember one time when he came to meet me one time, he's like, Eden, that woman will stitch you up. She's a chatty patty, and she will stitch you up. Like, watch out for her. And he was right. My mum kind of sussed the same thing later on. And basically what had happened was there was a fucking tree, bro, in the garden that was taller than the house, but it was flimsy. Like, I don't think it really could damage the house. It couldn't like crash windows or anything like that or damage a roof. But it had these pines. It's like a pine tree, like a Christmas tree. And they would fall off into the garden, and she didn't like it. So she got someone to come round from the council, and they were like, this is expensive to move this tree. Like, we're gonna need a horticultural person, like a tree surgeon, to come and kill it, and then like we'd kill it naturally to remove it, and the roots will be far spread. So anyway, yeah, like the tree, she's now in the process of getting this tree removed. And the story goes, this person from the council visited a couple of times, and one time the neighbor was just vexed with how long it was taking. So she just mouthed off to the council. She was like, why isn't he paying it? Like, me talking about me. Keep in mind, I know this neighbor since I was a baby, and like, she's watched me grow up. She's got a son the same age as me. Like, yeah, so she's not like an auntie. This white Italian lady. She's not like an auntie, but do you know what I mean? She knows my mum and she knows me. And she was like, oh, he's staying there. Why can't he pay for it? He needs to be paying for it, removing the tree. And we'd already spoke about that. I think the price was roughly around £500-600 to get it removed. I was just thinking, like, the council are gonna have to do that. Do you know what I mean? So I guess I could have paid for the tree to be removed, but it's all mad. Anyway, if I'm honest, I didn't really know how. Like, do you get me? Am I gonna give it to her mate? Is her mate trying to extort me and all that? It's all mad. So yeah, the council person is visiting for maybe the third time. And this woman, my neighbour's just mouthed off. She's just like, just bare emotional. Just said, he's not even meant to be there. His mum's not there. All just mouthing off, bro. Mad things. And I get a phone call. As this happens, I get a phone call. No, just after it's happened, this council person has left, and she's phoned my mum. And I don't know if the council person had a soft spot for my mum or whatever, but she just said, listen, what your neighbour's saying is going to be processed. And if you are, what was it, like committing fraud on the house or council house or something, and you've got people staying there and we don't know about it, you could potentially be evicted. She told my mum that. My mum's picked up the phone and rang me straight away and said, Eden, this woman's mouthed off, so the neighbour's mouthed off to the council about stuff. Just give me the heads up. And as I'm like, all right, mum, cool. As I've closed the phone, just put the phone down, I've got a knock on the door. It's a flipping neighbour. And she's so calm. She's talking to me. She says, she's all calm. She's like, Eden, can we have a chat? You know, we need to have a nice chat. You know what I mean? Let me know when I can come round for a tea and all that. And I'm like, right, this neighbour never speaks to me like this. She's kind of a bit of a frosty person. She's never nice, basically. And I'm like, right, you definitely grasped me up. You definitely tried to tell the council that we shouldn't be living here and all this kind of stuff. And I said like, yeah, I've not listened to her. I just said, oh, yeah, I'll let you know. I'll just close the door. Keep in mind, I closed the door fairly lightly, right? My mum's phoned me back again about an hour later and said, Uh, neighbors rung me. She said that you slammed the door in her face. These kind of people, yeah, that create their own narrative out of your small actions, bin them off, bro. Ignore them. Never get brought up to their emotionally by these kind of people. Like, I didn't slam the door in her face, but I wasn't receptive to her in it. But keep in mind that I'm now the victim. She snitched on me, yeah, about when she knows the situation, my mum and all this kind of stuff, and the council, she's aware of it. And she's used that when she's in an emotional state to try and move a tree removal because her garden's got some pines in it that she doesn't like. You get me? And my mum was basically like, I think it's up, Eden. I reckon we'll probably have 3-4 months before they get onto us. And I'll be really honest, the lodger, the way that it would work is like the lodger is paying my mum money, innit? Every month. So what happens when the council suspects you've got someone living there? Say the council price is, let's say the price of a council house is like, I don't know, £900, yeah? And you got me as my mum's lodger basically paying 450, and we've got a lodger paying 450. But it's a 2-bedroom house. They'll be like, so why are you getting 2 people paying you money for a 2-bedroom house? Is that your partner? Do you know what I mean? They can get really in your business. And so yeah, the council had asked for bank statements, and then from them we knew the game was up. But the maddest thing is, this is my mum's. For people that don't have experience of council housing, yeah, like this is my mum's house, bro, and people will be like, oh, it needs to go back into the system. You should leave it. You should give it. This is like, well, my mum has paid for this house in rent, like multiple times over. And this is why renting when you have a family is dangerous. She had opportunities to buy it, didn't take it, partly because of what the family dynamics and certain advice that she was given or whatever, or yeah. And so, yeah, this ain't an advert to buy your house because it's mad expensive, but it wasn't that expensive at one stage when she had opportunities to buy it. And I think a lot of people in council housing just don't have this information, bro. You don't have this information. Like, my parents are both born in this country, but a lot of my friends' parents aren't, and they just get a basic understanding of how things work. And yeah, even my mum, who is born in this country, she didn't get much support with her parents for information on how to operate through council housing. They were quite embarrassed that she was in a council house, even though they're quite working class themselves anyway. And so yeah, I think we ended up. Oh yeah, I'm missing a bit out. So the fraud team they just knocked randomly on the house. I think they were watching the house when they think you're maybe like, it's a bit like benefit cheating. I think that's how they treat it. But a fraud woman an investigator from the council came to the house, and she just knocked on the door one day, and she showed me a badge, like council badge, like police or something, and said, where's the tenant or the landlord or whatever? Like, where's the people that live here? It's kind of a catchy question because I'm living in the house, and I've grown up in this house. And I said, I'm the tenant. And she goes, is it not a woman that lives here? And I said, yeah, my mum, she lives here with me. And they were like, all right. And they just left. And then they sent a letter to my mum, obviously to the house. And it was sort of like, we're going to come round for a meeting. And they wanted to meet my mum. So my mum came down from the north of England for the meeting. And this is another thing, yeah, about being mixed race or just in general, it's just horrible, bruv. Like, the woman, so my mum's white, yeah, my dad's black, my mum's white. And when she's come in the house, bruv, for the meeting, my mum's there, my sister was actually there as well. And they were like, the woman's like, yeah, hi, I'm from the fraud investigation team. And yeah, we just wanted to speak about what's, a complaint that's been made about the house. And he said, oh, do you want to have it one-on-one, or do you want your, these other people to be here, your family to be here? My mum was like, well, Eden lives here. He's going to sit here. My daughter's going to go away if she needs to be, or she'll be in the other room. And we started the meeting. Now, yeah. And like, the woman, basically, I'm on one side with my mum, and the woman's on the other side of the dining table, and she's asking questions to my mum, and I was kind of like, I said to my mum, like, I give my mum a little nudge, like, not don't answer that, but not like a lawyer, but a little bit like, mum, I don't know, we should say that. And when she sees that, yeah, this Ford woman, she was like, um, I want to have the meeting with just you and not this man. And my mum's not switched, but she's almost brought to tears. She goes, "What do you mean, son? Not this man? It's my son." And she was like, "I need to have it with you and not this man that's renting from you." And it's those. This is like a thing, a mixed race thing, or just a black thing. Yeah, you've not got a firm stamp of approval that the person's racist, but it's like, would you say that if we were both black or both white? Like, my mum's white. Are you? Do you know what I mean? It was weird, and also we're in the process of losing the family home, maybe as well, innit? So it's just mad traumatic, bro. And my sister was ready to switch, and it's just all mad. And I remember I left with my sister and then came back, and yeah, they had another meeting another couple of weeks later when mum came and brought a bank statements and that, and they just said, yeah, you've got. I think they give you between 2 and 3 months notice, so it was a bit longer than expected. And obviously, I had to tell my lodger what was going on, that we had to leave in 3 months basically and pat down the house. Anyone that gets evicted and has got kids, unpack the house without the kids there, because even at the age of 24, yeah, it's a mad traumatic experience. Unpacking the house I grew up in, the only house I knew, and going through stuff like old stuff I ain't seen in years in the cupboard under the stairs and stuff, and selling furniture, all the furniture, making sure everything was empty basically, and we got as much money together as possible. My dad helped me take my last few bits away and like put the keys back through the letterbox and that. And I had this horrible feeling in my stomach, this horrible feeling. It's like a massive like hole in my stomach. It was a horrible feeling when I was sitting in the car. I remember saying to my dad, like, I feel weird, Dad, doesn't it? My stomach like, feels weird. And me and my dad don't talk so much in car journeys, innit? But he was just like, does it feel like grief? I was like, rah, it does, doesn't it? It feels like when someone close to me has died. And it was weird. I'll never forget that feeling. Like, I've lost a house. I've lost like material possession, but it feels like part of me has been taken away, like died. And that was a while. It took me a while to get over. I'm not gonna lie. A good 6-7 years might sound like a long time, but anyone that's lost a home through that kind of circumstances will probably be able to relate. And yeah, I've just put a poem on my Instagram, like a speech, and in that I say, Nan, I love you. Thank you for the basics, a roof, heating. Still, it wasn't easy. So like in that, what I did was I stored my stuff at my nan's, which was 2 hours away from my work, and I did a 4-hour round trip to work every day, sometimes 7 days a week, to try and get the money together to deposit, and then to get the money together for my driving lessons, which costs probably about £900. And that's the time I'll be speaking about, yeah, in some of my speeches. So yeah, that's basically it, the kind of eviction thing. Like if you do have children, don't take them off a council list when they go to uni. And also if they're like, I don't know if you can do this, but put them on a list for a council flat. Do you get me? All the men I know don't bother doing this, but like you should do it really. If you're like, can't be in your house for whatever reason, you need to try and get yourself on a council house list, because like prices, especially in London, oh my gosh, people are paying £600-700 to share a house with 5 people in it. So if you're not on some sort of list, you're not gonna. There used to be affordable housing in London, and it was called council housing, but as far as I know, this don't exist no more. Do you get me? You've really got to be. You got to be lucky enough to work full time in a job that allows you that, and not have too many travel costs or outgoings for other stuff as well. And even then, you've got to be prepared to share a house with strangers, which can be mad as well, especially where I was from. yeah, that's a story how I was evicted. I will share more if you want to hear more about certain things. I'll try and share more about that. There's countless. I've been through, I think, two other evictions after that, but in more less traumatic circumstances. Um, you know, so I can share on that, touch on that, and I can touch on like how to get a one bed flat when you're working, when you're not working, how all these things. Nothing illegal. Like I'm not stupid, but like things that you need to do and go through the process of that, because I feel like a lot it's not talked about enough. You don't get any training in school for know how to do this. So yeah, I can share about that maybe one time. Blessings. See you again.